Hi, I'm Connor Grimes with CBI Team. We help people sell and buy privately owned businesses. Today I'm sitting here with Bradley Richardson. He's the owner of Richardson's Plumbing here in Central Arkansas. And he and his family have made the decision to confidentially put the business on the market. Today we're just going to find out more about Richardson's, about their history, where they're going, where they've been, and more about Bradley, why he's considering selling the business, and what this could possibly mean for you as a possible buyer. With that, I'm just going to ask Bradley some questions now, and we'll get right to that. So first and foremost, Bradley, why are you thinking about selling the company?
There would be a couple of reasons. One would be just to explore other career opportunities. I was kind of thrown into this with my dad's passing right about the time I was finishing college. I've learned a lot from it, but it's not my true passion. I have more interest in agriculture and land development than I do plumbing. That was kind of my dad's passion, and I've learned it's not mine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I understand that. Just tell us the history of Richardson's. How long has it been around?
My dad started officially in 1987. Prior to that, he was working for another company here in town and got terminated for moonlighting and working on the weekends, doing his own thing. So he just took it on his own to start operating out of our garage. And my mom's told me he had a Jeep at the time. He sold his Jeep, bought a service van, and was a one-man show. Eventually bought the office we now have, the property in Maumelle. In 2012, my dad passed away late that year, December of 2012. At that time, I was a senior in college with my business degree. I had one semester left. And so during that one semester, I was still in school. My plan was always to come work for my dad and his company. I had worked there through high school, college in the summers, but had never been in the office. I was in the field. He had me in the ditches or running a track hoe, just a helper, doing the grunt work stuff. It taught me a lot, but there was a time to step forward, and at that time it was calling me to be in the office. My knowledge of business, gave me a rough idea of where to start, and I've had support from my mom and other people to, give me guidance. So the past 4 years I've been in the office. Starting the first month or so, I was just kind of shadowing. I didn't know what my role was there. A lot of the employees there, I had always worked under them, and they kind of had that feeling of, you're not going to tell us what to do now. You were the one, we told you what to do. Mm-hmm. And for some, that gave a few of the lead plumbers problems. They didn't want to hear anything out of me. I oversee all of our operations. I do our payroll. We have a payroll company that does the cutting of checks weekly. I just prepare our timesheets, send her the hours and what job each employee worked on. Right now we've got myself plus 10 other employees. There's 2 in the office, a warehouse manager that makes all of our deliveries, 2 service plumbers that do strictly day-to-day service calls, and then the remaining are in the field on the new construction commercial side. Okay. I oversee our service side more extensively than I do the new construction. I've got an estimator that I let him run those jobs and do watch over some, but I kind of let him run with that side, and I focus on the service and dealing with the calls that come in daily for a dripping faucet, water leaks, whatever, the smaller stuff that they need viewed then and now. I also do our HR, our hiring, firing, and recruiting, dealing with insurance, and our accountant, doing monthly reports for him, meeting with him. So I kind of oversee everything. Our secretary, she helps with all these roles as well, and I just oversee that they are, performed correctly.
Tell us, you've had some of these employees for a while, right?
I
One
have.
of the questions that these good folks are want to know is, well, if I were to make this purchase, am I going to have to put my own people in, or do you have well-trained people that have been with you a while?
I've had some. I've got one lead plumber. He's 10 or 12 years now. My secretary, she's been there 10 years, and multiple others that have been there 5 plus.
Okay.
My dad, he always felt the need to hold on to his employees. At one time, I didn't know what this meant at the time, but he told me, Sydney, my sister, he said, you and Sydney are my children. He said, but all of these employees are like kids to me too. He said, I've got to provide for them so they can provide for their families. And so he didn't want to leave them without a place to work, and he provided for them so they could take care of their own families.
Yeah.
So that maintained and kept employees around for many years.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Looking through the revenue, in the confidential deal room, you'll find the financials, but we've seen a decline over the last couple of years. Will you please address that for us? The revenue decline over the last couple of years. We've just seen a dip. Can you put into words why that is?
Starting in 2013, you'll notice it was higher than it is the past years up to current. In 13, that was still jobs that my dad had bid and were managed under him. Work that he had gotten prior in 12, 11, and we were completing in 13. Okay. After that, when my dad passed and the business went into the trust, we were no longer able to bond our work. That took us out of government work, which was all the schools. Looking back, up to 13, we had done 12 schools fairly recently, and we haven't been able to do any school work since. It also took us out of the larger projects that contractors require bid bonding on. Currently, we still don't bond anything. We've been able to, some of our contractors have bonded for us, or they just trust us enough, they know we're good for it. But we were kind of cut out of the school work and out of the larger projects that we used to do. And just the name, people were a little weary at first. Was, what's going to happen with the company? David's gone. Where's it going to go? And it took them a little bit to trust us. And we've regained that now. But it took, a year or two for them to know what's going to happen with the company. Do we want to take on a project with them, or where's it going? The cost of goods has also decreased. That was one due to me getting in there and asking why. No one wants to, I kind of watched over them, and that hadn't happened.
And you had a generous dad too, as I recall.
He was, and he oversaw the company, but he didn't stand there as much as I have. He wasn't in the warehouse every day saying, why are you taking that? Yeah. Why do you need that extra 20 foot of copper? And also, I watched our warehouse guy, and I kind of sat back and just observed and learned that extra material was going out the doors. Stuff was not being brought back from job. Those scraps that we demoed, never came back. And just getting to know the guys, and learned that there was some stealing going on. One of them was a lead plumber and the warehouse manager. And the month that both of those guys were terminated, we saw a significant increase drastically, right then and there.
Okay. It happens. One of the big things about this particular deal is the real estate that y'all got in early in Maumelle, and now, of course, that area is just exploding. Please tell us about the real estate, the building, so on and so forth.
The total property is 3.14 acres. It's at the corner of Counts Massey and Collins Industrial. We're still in North Little Rock. That's right before you go into Maumelle. Everyone calls it Maumelle. And when my dad first bought the property, it was all woods behind us. There were deer in our yard. It was a gravel road. There was a driving range and baseball fields, and that was about it. There wasn't a lot out there. Now it's a 2-lane major road that they're connecting to I-40, and there's apartments behind us. There's no trees left. It's all commercial, industrial area. There's a concrete plant, rock quarry. It's a lot of construction going on right around there.
Okay.
Our building consists of our half of it and then 3 tenant spaces, 2 of which are currently leased out. 1 is listed with a real estate agent.
Okay.
The main building, we've got a main building and then a warehouse separate shop building. It's a 3-bay. The back shop's 3,462 square foot.
Okay.
The main building is 11,500 square foot. It's comprised of the portion that Richardson Plumbing's using, which ours has an upstairs in it, and warehouse space, office warehouse. The 3 tenant spaces, 2 of them have warehouse shop doors from behind, and 1 of them's office only.
Okay.
2 are around 1,000 square foot, and the third is 1,600.
Okay.
The 2 smaller ones are leased right now.
Okay.
The third hasn't been on the market long, and it's got multiple inquiries about
Okay.
it there. The whole property is fenced in, the 3 acres there, with plenty of grounds for expansion if you ever wanted an additional building. Or at one point we had Molly Maid's cleaning tenant, and they had 50 employee cars parked in our gravel lot behind the building. So there's room for growth there.
Okay, great. And another big question, nobody knows the company like you do. If you were going to hold on to this thing and keep it for an additional 5 years, what would you do to, excuse me, to grow the company?
As I've done the past 4 years, I focused on the service side of it. Service is quick turnover. You go out to someone's house, you work for an hour, a day, 2 days, you get paid at the end of that. It's not a new construction job where it's a 60-day turnaround on your money and all your expenses are building up. So I would keep focusing on service. There's a higher profit margin there, and there's a larger markup on our material, plus our labor rate's higher than what we can get in the commercial new construction. So I would focus. Another idea I would do to in a 5-year growth plan would be to assure the ability to bond again. That took away a lot of our market for the school work. Every year the schools come out pre-summer bidding. It's quick work. It's got to be over before school starts back. So there again, you're getting paid quickly. It's fast paced, which pushes the employees. There's no goofing off and dragging it out. It's summer work. It's not in the winter. It's good weather. So try to get back in that where we could focus on the school jobs. And lastly, just watch over, make sure all the employees know that someone's watching them. Inventory management, material management, what's going to and from the jobs, so nothing's walking away, and keep a close eye on the overall practice of business.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, that's it for the video. Any other information that you need should be available in the confidential deal room. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact the CBI team at 877-582-5200. Thank you for your time.